I mean, you are talking about 30066B. Am I right?
That's right, yep.
Okay. So what do you think about this assessment? Are you clear what we expect from you
Um,
to complete? Do you have any question?
I am struggling a little bit. I have been to a previous webinar which um, was good, but yeah, it was a little while ago, and I sort of,
Yeah.
had some time away from it and come back. So I'm
Okay.
slowly getting there, but yeah,
Okay.
I'm certainly
So next question would
confident.
be, do you have a specific question related to that assessment, or do you want me to give you an overview from start to end, complete assessment? What do you want?
Um, Probably both, to be honest. I
Okay.
do have a specific one around
Okay.
appendix
Okay. What I'll do,
C, I think it is.
I'll start with this assessment. I'll start from scratch, uh, and you can ask me a specific question when we reach there. That we fine?
Okay, yep,
Okay.
yep.
So this assessment is 30066B01, plan assessment activities. So let's go to page number 7 and see what it's saying. Okay. Uh, Follow these instructions. That's fine. We'll start from 1. Write a brief introduction to your organization where the learning is to be delivered and assessed. So it would be a paragraph about your client. So if you are working uh, as a trainer of open colleges, and open colleges is going to train in ABC company, you need to write something about that ABC company. You can research about that company on internet, on their website, write, get something from their profile or about us, put it there. That's it. Simple. Second part, develop a candidate profile for at least 3 candidates. So we have a template called Appendix B, which is asking you to write a profile.
Yep.
So let's go down and very quickly cover the target profile. So first thing, you need to create candidate profile of 3 candidates separately, not in a one template. So you would copy and paste this form. There are 5 sections. So you would have 3 templates. You will put name here, John, position, whatever the position is, type of industry. That's very simple. Purpose of their assessment. Purpose of their assessment would be really simple. If you are going to train them for customer services, and the unit is deliver a customer service, and the unit code is BSBCUS301A. So you are going to assess that person for deliver a customer service BSBCUS301A. That's it. Simple. Characteristics that may impact on assessment. Talk about their current education. Talk about their professional education or training. Talk about their experience. Talk about their LLN uh, ability, capability level. Talk
Yep.
about their background. Put as much information as you can get or come up with. So talk about talk about that person, their current level, their education, their experience. Assessment
Yep.
context, why we are assessing that person, how we are going to assess that person, what sort of tools or methods we are going to use to assess that person. This kind of stuff would go in assessment context. Workplace health and safety issues that need to be addressed. So if you are training someone how to operate a forklift, there would be heaps of work health and safety issues related to that. If you are
Yep.
assessing someone in a construction site, there would be heaps of WHS issues which you need to consider. So think about your unit, think about the assessment, and come up with work health place safety issues. And even if it's an exam in a room, there can be trip hazard. So think about
Yeah.
WHS and write. So one for one candidate, another one for another candidate. That's candidate profile. Let's go
Yep.
back. Use the template found in Appendix C to record relevant legal, organizational, ethical requirements that impact on assessment. There is a perfect slideshow in study period 3 additional resources related to that. Let me show you. Where is it?
Sorry, that was for doing Appendix C, you're saying?
Yes, Appendix C, yes.
Yep. Yep.
So if we go to study period 3, and if we go to additional resources, yep, and we would find this one, ethical and legal responsibilities. Download it, see it. It would give you answer of each section of that template, that
Ah,
appendix.
yep. Okay.
Huh?
Yep.
So what are assessor requirements, assessor ethics, assessment policies and procedures. So you would get the idea of what you need to write there. It's simple. You can copy and paste or you can rephrase. I would suggest to rephrase these things, but you would get
Yep.
help from there. So it's really easy.
Okay. Yep.
Let's go back. Sorry. Yep. Okay. Now, identify the benchmark of assessment. Nothing. Just the code and title of your unit. That's it. So if your unit is BSB CUS301A, deliver a service to customer, that's what you need to
Yep.
write. Finish. Number 5.
Okay.
Yep. Write a description of assessment purpose and context. Develop an assessment plan that highlights and types of evidence. So number 5 is actually assessment plan, and we have a template in Appendix D. Number
Yep.
6 is saying the draft assessment plan must be reviewed and revised to address any issues. So number 5 and number 6 is actually saying come up with a draft assessment plan, get some feedback on that, and write your final assessment plan. So what
Yep.
would you do? Let me go back to here. So that's assessment plan. Now, as I mentioned, you need 2 assessment plans, one draft and one final one. So in a
Mm-hmm.
draft one, you would write title of unit, one unit only. Uh, benchmark is the same thing. You are going to contextualize a unit or no, purpose of assessment, target group profile, you can copy and paste from candidate profile, assessors would be your name, location of assessment, uh, come up with any address, any place, assessment arrangements, WHS sort of stuff, we've already identified these in candidate profile, write it again
Yep.
here. Method of assessment means you are going to have exam, you are going to have observation, you are going to give them a project, you are going to give them a case study. What would be the
Mm-hmm.
method of assessment? How you are going to assess them? Okay, so
Yep.
one can be observation, another one can be a case study or project, one can be exam, one can be a quiz, a third party report, this sort of stuff. And based
Yep.
on these method of assessments, what are the names of your assessment tools? So it's a MCQ quiz, it's a practical demonstration, or it's a practical observation. So if these would be same, but more defined, more specific.
Yep.
Then material which you need for the assessment. Again, if you are going to assess someone how to operate a forklift, you need a forklift. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Of special arrangements and timelines of assessment. Of assessment is for 3 hours, 1 hour, 60 minutes. What is the length of assessment? So how many assessments are there? If there are 3 assessments, so are those 3 assessments are in the same day, in the same time? Or we have one in the first week, second in the second week, third in the third week? What's the timeline of assessment? Reporting arrangements for assessment in place. So you've got after the assessment, you will get the evidence of students. So where would you store it? How would you report the evidence of your student? So you would mark it, you would put it in a Dropbox, you would email to your program manager, you will physically hand over those documents to your manager. What would be the reporting arrangement? So these things are simple. But again, come up with a draft assessment plan, print it out, and put some comments on it. Try to change something as evidence of feedback, and then come up with a final assessment tool again. So you would have draft assessment, you would have evidence of feedback on draft assessment as your handwritten notes. By the way, you can have electronic comments if you want. You can say, okay,
Yep.
I reviewed it using Microsoft Word, and here are the comments. But there must be 3
Yep.
documents: draft assessment plan, there would be evidence of feedback on assessment plan, then there would be final assessment plan with your with the updation of feedback. Got it?
Okay.
Huh?
Just to go back quickly, are we just doing one method of assessment at this stage, or are you actually picking a couple at this point?
Okay. For assessment plan, you need to write 2 or more than 2, but for actual assessment, you do not need to have more than one assessment instrument. But when
Yeah.
we are saying when we are writing for assessment plan, we are writing at least 2 to 4. So I'll come up with a range, 2 to 4 assessment
Yeah.
methods. But when we are going to write an assessment instrument in the next part, we will write only 1. Got it?
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I was saying there will be draft assessment plan, there will be evidence of feedback on draft, and there will be final assessment plan. Clear?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
Okay.
So at this point, we're just saying, for example, we will assess by a role play
Yep.
and a case study or something
Yes.
like that,
Yep.
and that's it for here.
That's
So that's actually this whole first section.
yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
3066B.
Yep.
Yep.
30066B01 first section is all about candidate profile, framework of assessment, and assessment plan. Draft assessment plan, evidence of feedback on draft assessment plan, either handwritten or electronic, and final assessment plan.
Yep.
That's part 1. Now, part B, I want you to make it really simple and easy. This needs you to come up with a simple assessment instrument. What is assessment instrument? A quiz, a project, a practical demonstration, a case study. I usually recommend to have a quiz of 5 to 10 questions. The good thing is you do not need to cover full unit of competency.
Yep.
You need to cover a part of that unit of competency. So you can cover one element only. And let's say in first element, you have only 5 performance criteria. Come up with 5 questions covering each performance criteria and have a quiz. And that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Okay? So
Yep.
a part
That
of
makes sense.
unit of competency, quiz is simple. You can have practical demonstration, you can have project. But why you want to make your life a bit difficult?
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
can make your
Yep.
life easy. So have a quiz, select 5 questions mapped against 5 performance criteria, and that's it. but do not copy and paste performance criteria.
Yeah.
Rephrase
Yeah.
those performance criteria into, into simple, easy to understand questions. Yeah, write those questions.
Yeah.
Now, but this one is saying, let's read it. Follow the direction based on assessment plan. The assessment tool that you develop must have the instrument for collecting evidence, that would be quiz, instructions to assessors. So there must be instructions to assessors to be careful about the time, to check their IDs, to see whether they are uh, they need to finish in 30 minutes. I mean, there must be some kind of instructions to assessors, 3 to 4.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. Then there would be instructions to candidates as well. That's another important part. If it's a quiz, you can say, okay, you need to write in your own words. Uh, if you are going to use something from internet, you need to reference it. So there must be some kind of instructions for assessors and candidates. I, you can say, okay, you need to get 75% to get pass mark. That's the instruction. So
Okay.
these are the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
And the condition of assessments. Another part. What condition of assessments are? This would be closed book or open book quiz. This would be online quiz. This quiz would be, if it's a practical demonstration, it would be in a simulated workplace. So what are the condition of assessment? So instructions to assessors, instruction to candidates, and conditions of assessment. Then you need to come
Yeah.
up with advice to assessors for contextualization. I hope you guys have studied contextualization in study period 1.
Yeah.
Yeah? So you need to come up with 1 to 2 examples of contextualization. Then you need to come up with 1 to 2 examples for reasonable adjustment. So if someone uh, cannot write, he or she can speak. He or she can record the answer of those questions. Yeah, so things like that. Then the last thing, you need to come up with a mapping document of this assessment. Now, as I said earlier, you do not need to cover full unit of competency. You need to cover a part of unit of competency. You need to map that part of unit of competency only. If you are going to have 5 to 6 questions, you need to map only those 5 to 6 questions against unit of competency. Got it? So there would be
Yeah.
element. Then let me show you a simple assessment mapping. Uh, insert 1 to element performance criteria, and 3 would be enough. I'll write here unit code, unit title. I'll merge these. I'll merge these two. Author, that would be your name. So let's say it's BSB CUS 301. Deliver a service to customer Mohammed. Elements, performance criteria, sorry, and my assessment instrument is quiz. Yeah. So I'll do this one. I'll write first element here. I'll write 1.1, whatever performance criteria is, 1.2, 1.3. I'll merge these ones, and I'll write something. How would I mark it? Let's go to symbols and select a symbol to marks. Yeah, this one. And it would call assessment mapping document. Isn't it great?
Yep.
Simple.
Nice
That's
and
it.
easy. Yeah.
Yep. And you do not need to map full unit of competency. Only the part which you are covering in your assessment instrument. That's it. If it's 3.1, then it will be 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. That's it. And that will be 3 also.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's go back. Where is water assessment? Yep. So, any question related for part 2?
No, that makes sense. So your questions might only be covering one of 5 elements or something like that.
Yep.
So you're only then covering, as you've just done there,
Yep.
one particular
Yep.
element.
But there's a bit twist. Let's talk about part C, and you will get that idea. Now we'll go to
Yep.
part C, a report. This one is saying follow these instructions to review and trial the assessment tool. Organize a trial, the assessment tool with the pilot group. Collect the feedback that you received from participants. Prepare a report approximately 1,000 words. And while preparing your report, address these 4 questions. And then modify the tool to incorporate your findings and feedback you've received, and attach various versions of your assessment tool: draft, trial, and final version. So I would make it really simple and easy.
Yep.
Prepare one simple quiz without having instructions to assessors and candidates as a draft assessment instrument. Okay. Then
Yep.
come up with another assessment instrument and add instruction to assessors, instruction to candidates, advice to assessors for contextualization, and reasonable adjustment strategies. So first one would call draft. Second one, we would prepare to trial. Then I would suggest to give it to someone and ask him to complete it. So if there would be 5 questions, ask him to answer these 5 questions quickly. So they would write the answers to those questions on it. So you would get the evidence of trial as a handwritten notes on it. Got
Yep.
it? Then come up with the final version. How? Add everything. Instructions to assessors, instructions to candidates, condition of assessments, advice to contextualization, advice for reasonable adjustment, everything. Full final assessment instrument. The blank one. So that would be final version. So you would cover 1, 2, 3 versions, and you have already organized a trial of your assessment with a pilot group as well. And then you would come up with your report. Is it simple and easy?
Yeah.
Have you got it? Do you have any
It
question?
sounds it sounds like it when you say it like that. Yes.
It sounds
I
like easy.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so what we are doing we, what actually our practice is, when we come up with the assessment instrument, we come up with a draft. We say, okay, that's the first version. Okay, I'll show it to someone. He would give me a feedback. I'll add something in it. We are recording that process. We are saying, okay, that's my draft assessment instrument.
Yep.
Then I would get some feedback on it. I would record that feedback. If I'm giving that assessment instrument to someone to write comments on it, I would scan that file. I would scan that page. So it would be my evidence of trial.
Mm-hmm.
Right? and then I'll come up with the final assessment instrument. And this report, as I mentioned, participants, uh, you can talk about, you can say, okay, I've trialed it with 5. Is it? Let me see. Is it saying number of persons?
Does it?
Participants.
Think it
No,
does.
it's not. It's saying participants, so there must be 2. So you then talk about their work experience, talk about their special needs, methods that you use to gather feedback. What do you think? What sort of method we can use to gather feedback?
Either a feedback form or just
Yep.
asking questions.
Feedback form, verbal feedback. Yeah. So whatever you'll use, write it there. Analysis of trial outcomes, of course. After the trial, they would give you some kind of feedback, and you would say, okay, I missed this one, I missed this one, so I'm going to add it. So recommendations of for the revision, okay, I have 5 questions, I may need to have 6 or may need to have 4 something. I missed instructions for candidates. So I have instructions for candidate, but I need to add something else in it. So,
Yep.
so these kind of recommendations and come up with the final version. So
Yep.
that's it. That's what this assessment is. Now, what I'll do, just to clarify the thing, I'll show you the checklist of this assessment. Can you see that screen?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, it's saying 666. Let me change it. It is
Oh,
double
yeah.
six. Okay, so that's the overview of this assessment. You need to have an intro of client. You need 3 different candidate profiles, separate templates. Legal, organizational, and ethical requirements, Appendix C. Then you need to have an assessment plan, draft assessment plan. You need to submit evidence of feedback on draft assessment plan, handwritten notes or electronic notes. Then based on that, you would have an assessment plan, final one. Okay. Then you would prepare a draft assessment instrument, one only, and I would suggest pick a quiz of 5 to 6 questions covering one element only. Okay. Then test the instrument with a pilot group and gather feedback on trial assessment instrument. Completed trial instrument with handwritten notes or electronic comments can be from one candidate. So you may need to trial it to 2 or 3 or 4 persons, but for submission for evidence, one would be enough.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to complete it. There must be handwritten notes on it. It must be completed assessment instrument. Okay, that's where you can say, no, it's trialed. Got it?
Yeah.
Then
Yep.
you would come up with a final version of assessment instrument with instructions for assessors, instructions for candidates, advice for contextualization, and advice for reasonable adjustment. Yeah, that's really important. And then assessment mapping document. I showed you, simple. You just need to map a part of unit of competency which you have covered in your assessment instrument. And the last one is 1,000 words reflective report. So, what do you think? Is it easy?
Yeah, I'm much happier with it now in terms of what to do. Yeah.
No, that's great. Now, do you have any question
Uh,
before going to next assessment?
yeah, coming in was mainly just about how to fill out that table in Appendix C, but that's what you've said is on that other
Yeah,
PowerPoint.
you got that PowerPoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's very quickly talk about second assessment. That's easy as well. Really easy. So that's the overview of second assessment. 30066B02. Again, you need assessment plan, but this time you do not need a draft and evidence of draft. You need one assessment plan final. That's it. Then We are preparing RPL assessment tool this time. So we cannot use quiz or practical demonstration. We need to use portfolio evidence checklist. And I have this portfolio evidence checklist for you guys on study period 3 forum. So I'm in a study period 3. Can you see that?
Yep.
So
Yes.
I'll scroll it down and I'll go to study period 3 news forum, and this one, second post, written oral questioning practical demonstration portfolio checklist. They are templates. So we need portfolio assessment instrument. So where is portfolio assessment instrument? Here it is, this one. So we'll download it, save, we'll open it. Come on, portfolio, save, open folder. Okay, that's the portfolio checklist. So you would write unit name, unit code, portfolio, candidate name would be blank, date of assessment blank, assessment instructions again, instructions to candidates and assessors. You would copy and paste elements from your unit of competency, performance criteria here. Now, when we are saying portfolio checklist, it means someone is approaching you to get RPL. They are saying,
Mm-hmm.
we have experience, we have knowledge of this unit of competency, we are competent, we do not need training, we need assessment only. What sort of documents you need so you can assess me? Now, we are coming up with that checklist. So I'm saying, I need your resume, I need your job description, I need your reference letter from employer, third party report. But you can say here, you can come up resume with relevant job titles, because if I'm assessing someone for deliver a customer service, there must be a job title related to customer services in his or her resume. Same
Yeah.
job description, you can come up with a customer service representative. Eh? Then what else we need? Uh, workplace documents. What sort of workplace documents we can ask? We can ask for customer log. I don't know. It depends on unit. For each
Yeah.
unit, the workplace documents would be different. Uh, customer phone call, video audio recordings. Then workplace again, something. So there must be at least five to 10 different documents which we need, and you guys will come up with these things. I mean, I don't know, it would depend on unit. If unit is related to health and safety, workplace documents would be different. If it is related to communication, workplace documents would be different, but those workplace documents must match with the unit. So you would come up with this one. So feedback on candidate, it would be blank, notes of reassessment blank, everything would go blank. That's what we need for this one, RPL assessment instrument, portfolio checklist. And then you would add a cover sheet on it. What cover sheet is? Let me show you that. Before coming up with this one, on what I'll do, sorry, I'll come up with, we'll say instructions for candidates, and there would be few instructions for candidate. There would be instructions for assessors. There would be advice for reasonable adjustment. Then advice for contextualization. Okay, so we'll do this one. We'll make it a bit professional. Okay, so that's my cover sheet covering all other things, instructions for candidate assessors, advice for reasonable adjustment, contextualization, and that's my RPL portfolio checklist assessment instrument. Yeah? That's what I'm asking here. RPL assessment tool, which is portfolio checklist, instructions for candidate assessors, condition of assessment, I forgot to put it there, but you guys need to put as well. Advice for contextualization, advice for reasonable adjustment. Then for mapping documents, this time it's easy. Again, you have this mapping document, which I showed you before, but this time write all elements, all performance criteria, required skills, performance evidence, everything. Instead of now in assessment instrument, you would write portfolio checklist and you would tick all boxes and done. Because what you are doing, you are asking that person for evidence to mark complete unit of competency, not a part of unit of competency, because we cannot give RPL for one element or two elements. It must be full unit of competency. You need to get enough evidence to cover full unit of competency. Okay? That's why I said the workplace document would be different for each unit of competency. So mapping documents, complete unit of competency. Then there's the report on assessment plan on RPL tool. We are asking few questions, and there are 9 short answer questions. Let's go through those questions very quickly, and then I'll ask you if you have any question.
So sorry, is the report a separate one and then the question?
Yeah. Report is separate one, yeah. Yep. So that's the report. So it's saying you are to prepare a report of your experience in developing assessment plan, assessment instrument, and we are asking you 5 questions. What processes help you to interpret the competency standard? What processes did you follow? So whatever you are doing while preparing the assessment plan and assessment instrument, you need to explain it. It's a reflective report. Whatever you've done, you need to explain it here. Now in part C, which is required knowledge, again, but this time there is a scenario, there is a case study, and we are asking you these questions again, and these questions are simple. You can, if you've read the workbook of study period 3, first workbook, you can easily answer these questions. So do you have any question about these 2 assessments? Am I making it simple or no?
Yeah, no, I think you are, definitely. It's good to run through it like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any specific question? Any other question which I haven't covered?
Nothing jumps to mind. I mean, I think I can relate the unit I'm doing to those things. So, yeah,
that's great.
I think now it's good I've got some notes, and as long as I can refer back to notes and what we talked about, I should be able to
There will
You know,
be.
piece it.
There's one more thing which I'm going to do. I've recorded it. I'm going to put this
Oh,
video
cool.
on a YouTube. So
Yep.
if you want to see, you can go to our YouTube link and you can watch this video anytime.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Is, for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
good night.
All right. Thanks very much. Cheers.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye then.
you. Bye then.